Trevor Lawrence, who in just 2 hours from right now will be throwing footballs in front of dozens of scouts and coaches, including Jacksonville head coach Urban Meyer. The overwhelmingly likely top pick in April's draft is doing his pro day now because he's going to have surgery on his non-throwing shoulder coming up here and wouldn't be able to do it later. Now, over the last 10 drafts, there have been just 3 quarterbacks to earn a grade of 97 or higher from Scouts, Inc. Trevor Lawrence can add his name to this list. Andrew Luck, Jameis Winston, RG3, all those among the others who've had the highest quarterback grades of the last decade. And so let's get right to this here. And Tim Hasselbeck, you and I were having a conversation this morning that I think is really interesting. One of the reasons to be impressed with Lawrence here is that this is something he didn't have to do, and that's a bit of a theme with him.
Oh, it absolutely is. I mean, you think about, the idea that he's moving his pro day up 5 weeks. I spoke with Jordan Palmer, who's running his workout today. Normally, he works with guys and trains guys for about 10 weeks before they throw on their pro day. And if there was anybody that could, decide not to throw and have it not affect their draft status, it would be Trevor Lawrence. And I think, Greeny, you can take that back to the college football season. With so many guys opting out, wondering if it was worth it to play through COVID. Trevor Lawrence basically started and led the We Want to Play campaign, and he was a guy that really didn't need to play. He could have sat out and still been the #1 overall draft pick. So I think it speaks a lot to, one, his leadership ability, but two, his desire to just be out there competing, which teams have to love.
I agree completely. It's an interesting thought. And then, Jeremy Fowler, I will come to you because when Urban Meyer decided to come back or to come to the NFL and start coaching in Jacksonville, the first thought you have is it must be because he wants to coach Trevor Lawrence. And you were telling me that goes back at least 2 years.
Yeah, Urban Meyer's been waiting for this. He watched Trevor Lawrence live in the 2019 semifinal against Ohio State. I'm told he came away from that blown away by the skill set. He said, this is the kind of guy that I need to coach. Now, he hadn't decided on the NFL at that point, but he was trending in that direction anyway, so he wanted to build around a top pick with a team that has a young, bright future. So this is a guy that he's very excited just to see live today, and that's the case with about 15 to 20 teams that are expected to be in attendance. I talked to one exec from a team picking later in the first round. They said, look, we just want to see the kid throw. We've heard all the hype. We want to see the ball come out of his hands live.
And that's the part of it I don't fully understand. Okay, great. They can see the ball come out of his hands. But I have to believe that, look, we all know he's going to be the first pick in this draft, right? So why is anyone besides Jacksonville people even bothering to show up to this, Jeremy?
Well, they want to talk with other execs and people around the league about some potential trades. They can make some moves in February and March. It goes beyond the draft. This is really a limited networking opportunity for some of these teams. There's no combine this year, limited pro day action. They're not going to see many people. So aside from the Senior Bowl, this is really it. And, there's some other Clemson players that they can see as well. And, hey, look, some of these guys may be picking second or third or just holding out some sort of hope that maybe Lawrence would fall to them too, even though that's naive to think that.
Bart Scott, why are you shaking your head?
Well, because when I look at that initial list that we had, RG3, Jameis Winston, Andrew Luck, I don't know if I really want to be on that list because it shows me that only 1/3 of those players had success. And what's something that some of those players had in common? They went to a place in which they weren't equipped to be able to protect them early on, and they didn't have the weapons around there. So I look at Urban Meyer coming in, and I don't know if I'm Trevor Lawrence, if I really want to be able to get on that list. And I'm looking at maybe a team like Houston that may be a little farther in the process and say, hey, I know it would never happen. They would never trade Deshaun Watson within the division. But maybe him getting out and throwing earlier so he can try and send a signal, a help me signal, because he may not want to be a Jacksonville Jaguar, because we've seen teams and organizations ruin great quarterbacks. Would Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes if he would have landed somewhere other than Kansas City? Would Patrick Mahomes be Patrick Mahomes if he would have went to Cincinnati? I think these are all things that top picks have to consider. Right. We saw that consideration with Joe Burrow, so maybe getting out and maybe he gets a lifeline.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.